Energy costs are rising sharply, but imagine having to hand over a quarter of your income just to pay your fuel bills. That's the situation some people on benefits are finding themselves in.
Well, now the customer watchdog Consumer Focus says the scheme, called Fuel Direct, needs to be reassessed. Paul
Lewis is here to talk us through what he's found out. Paul, can you first give us the basics? How does this scheme work?
Well, briefly, if you've been in arrears and you're on a means-tested benefit, pension credit, income support, that kind of thing, the fuel company that supplies your home can ask the Department for Work of Pensions to direct to it, rather than to you, an amount to cover part of your arrears and then enough to cover your current consumption.
So it's taken directly out of
yes,
the money
and
you
it can be up to a quarter of the money you get.
Which is quite a good idea in principle, presumably, but as prices of the bills are going up, yes, you're left with less money.
You're left with very little money. I've had a lot of tweets about it, some sympathetic, some I have to say not, but Jeanette says I get £73 a week, £25 goes on gas and electric and other bills.
That's more than a quarter.
It is, but I'm not sure if she's on Fuel Direct, but it can be more than a quarter if you agree to it.
Right.
So it can be any amount that you agree to. I'm left with £8.50 for food, so she's presumably an unemployed person. And lots from disabled people saying, because of course they're protesting today in this hardest hit action. I don't have a name for this lady. I'm on income support. I get deducted £43 a week for my benefits. I have 4 children to feed, and I have disabilities. We're at breaking point.
That's Benjamin.
That's right.
Yeah. Also, though, some people less sympathetic to those being on benefits. They appreciate that they're struggling, but say, well, we're all facing higher fuel bills.
That's absolutely true, and I mean, I made this point earlier that many people are on wages, or they've gone up very slightly. A lot of people on low pay, on minimum wage, which is a very small amount of money. And I've had a number. Nicola said benefits went up, did you say 3%? Lucky then, my wages have been frozen for the last 2 years. So people are suffering, and I think this is a common theme, that many people who are on low incomes find these growing fuel bills very hard to pay on benefits, or it has to be said not on
yes, one from Les came in saying, I realise people on benefits are struggling, all of us struggling as well. He says, I think one issue that needs addressing is that fuel companies need to bring the prices down. In principle, that's what this story is about, isn't it? Because the fuel prices have gone up, and there's this big argument about whether that's justified or not. In principle, that's the reason why people are in these kind of situations.
It is, and the government had what it called its Energy Summit last week about that, but I didn't really see any evidence that there was any action they could take, because, yes, part of it is the world price of gas, which they have to pay to buy it before they sell it to us. But the other side is this £200 billion fuel companies are going to have to spend on infrastructure, new pylons connecting wind farms. And, you know, guess who's going to pay that? Us. So I don't think there's much prospect of fuel bills coming down, I have to say. I hope they do, but I think they're going to be flat or rise.
So what should people do? Because this Fuel Direct system is in place. People are facing higher bills. Anyone, what should they be thinking about now?
Well, a lot of people are on prepayment meters. I mean, like nearly 5 million. Now, that can be a good idea if you can have one. Not everyone can, but if you can have one. But of course, what that does mean is that when the fuel thing you plug in runs out, you're in effect cutting yourself off for a while. Plus, a lot of people on prepayment meters are paying more per unit, not with every firm. The other thing, of course, we normally advise is, well, switch supplier. But if you're in debt, as people on Fuel Direct always have been in debt, you very rarely can do that because no one wants you, so you're stuck with what you've got. So I think it comes down to insulation. Ask your supplier, is there a better tariff I can be on? Is there any help with insulation? A lot of people still haven't done the basics. No, that wasn't true of the gentleman I interviewed earlier. And just try and cut down in that way. And, you know, simple things, it may sound like a patronising thing to say, but switch the lights off when you're not in the room. Don't leave things on standby. All of these things do help, perhaps more than people realise.
Paul, thank you very much for now. Lots of people getting in touch, and I know you'll have more in Moneybox at 12 midday.
Yes, and we're also looking at, if you lose your mobile phone, who is liable for the calls made by the person who nicks it? And they can let us know, bbc.co.uk/moneybox.
Is there a quick answer to that one?
You is well, not you, Charlie.
Me?
If it was you, no one, you know. But the owner is liable until you report it. Yes.
All of that on Moneybox, Radio 4 midday.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks,
very much.
Now, debt.